We have all heard of love at first sight, but liking, disliking, respecting, trusting, and even hating at first sight are also common and have a huge impact on our lives. Welcome to another video. Until the end of the last millennium, people in most parts of the world were primarily concerned with the impression they make when they meet in person. But with the development of technology, the first impression became a broader phenomenon. It also became faster and people began to apply it to more and more areas of their lives. With the development of technology, more resources for first impressions also became available. For example, people can form an impression of you when they hear your voice on the phone, read a letter, email, or a message you have written, browse your online presence, or see a photo or video without meeting you in person. So why is it so important to make a good first impression? People have these ideas of what is acceptable and what is not. Whether you adhere to these standards or not is up to you. But if you present yourself differently than what is expected, others will make the first impression based on their expectations and perceptions. You need to have an idea of what is expected in a particular interaction and what is acceptable. Otherwise, sometimes the impression you give may be very different from who you really are. Sometimes the first impression you make may not be the one you want. If you have a clear idea of the first impression you expect to make, you can decide whether you will conform to the norms and whether you will lose something and take the loss if you don't conform. Making a good first impression in everyday life has been considered important throughout the history of the world. The importance lay in the idea that you would find it easier to get others on your side, get their help, win opportunities and achieve what you wanted. This sometimes sounded calculating to the person who wanted to impress and judgmental to the person who needed to be impressed. So there were times when people thought it was unnecessary and not right. And then we mustn't jump to conclusions and assume the worst in people after the first few seconds of an interaction. In today's technologically developed world, these experiences can come suddenly and out of nowhere, and the person in question may be having a difficult moment. But scientists have found that the first impressions made in the first few seconds of an interaction remain prevalent in our memory. It can also take a long time and a lot of effort to change this. Scientists have also discovered that first impressions are linked to the human survival instinct. In the first few seconds of interacting with you, the other person wants to be sure that you won't be rude and there is no reason to protect themselves from you. Also, most people want others to make them feel good. So subconsciously they want us to do the same, and if we manage to create the first impression of a warm, polite and friendly person, this is the case and the purpose of the interaction can go smoothly. So it is important that we are aware of the importance of making a good first impression on others. Also, we need to be compassionate and kind to others when making impressions. We also need to be careful not to create stereotypes for ourselves. The most important thing to remember when making a good first impression is that our impressions should match the uniqueness of the situation. Clichés and stereotypes are rarely applicable because different people have different views of human nature. So if you want to make a good first impression in your daily interactions, you need to remember that you can keep this process under your control. To keep it under control, you need to be aware of what's going on around you. To be alert, you need to develop the ability to live in the present moment. It is counterproductive if you regret how you handled similar situations wrongly in the past or if you fear the upcoming interactions. All you need to be concerned about is the present experience. Another important thing is that unplanned, unexpected interactions can leave an impression of you on others. Again, the solution is to be in the here and now. Dealing with the situation in an unfocused and distracted way can leave others with the wrong impression about you. If you want to make a good first impression, you need to acquire the necessary skills because it's very difficult to fake it. The thing about impressions is that even if you fake a first impression, you could be exposed later. If you do, it can have serious consequences because no one wants to believe they were wrong, and the person in question will keep what happened in mind. Scientists have found that attractive people make a good first impression and radiate more self-confidence and accepted positively. Being attractive is not about having perfect physical features. It is about how you present yourself and how you behave. It is more about having a warm, friendly attitude towards others. If you have a warm smile, open, accepting hands and palms, you make a good first impression because your body language also goes a long way to making a good first impression. A firm handshake and non-sweaty palms are also an advantage. It is also important that you are well-groomed and feel comfortable. Taking the time to develop a style of dress that suits you is a big step. You don't have to wear expensive or trendy clothes. It's about what suits you and projecting a strong image of yourself. If you pay attention to what brings out your strongest qualities and dress accordingly, you will feel comfortable in your own skin. Learning good manners is an important part of your grooming. Politeness is about kindness and empathy. It's about making sure that no one else is offended or upset by your behavior. Learning good manners is not about following a rigid set of rules. It's about learning self-control and adapting to a situation accordingly. If you make politeness a habit, your behavior will adapt effortlessly. You can't fake politeness. It helps you to behave well, and the confidence you develop as a result will leave a good first impression of you wherever you are. If you are confronted with a situation for the first time, it will help you immensely if you familiarize yourself with the etiquette beforehand. There are plenty of resources online, or you can ask a friend who has had the same experience if you have one. This would take away your fear and you could approach the challenge confidently and with a good feeling. This will make you an attractive person and make a good first impression about you. And more importantly, being attractive means accepting yourself, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and being able to use your strengths. This makes you a relaxed, self-confident person. Showing self-confidence is an important prerequisite for making a good first impression. During your first contact, a firm handshake or appropriate greeting, whatever is acceptable, while maintaining eye contact, a calm voice, and a warm face with a slight smile is necessary. Please be careful. You need to practice when to break the handshake and eye contact and when to stop smiling. Otherwise, you could come across as intimidating. Stand up straight, put your shoulders back, and develop a calm but confident gait. Also, pay attention to your hands. Control your hands, don't fidget and don't touch your face and body. Together with the croaky or trembling voice, they convey fear. Also, make sure to control your facial expressions and eye movements. An inappropriate smirk, an arrogant facial expression, and a wandering gaze can make people doubt your integrity and reliability when they form first impression of you. In a social setting, try to quickly assess the other person's state of mind and adjust to it. They may be happy or tired, excited about good news, or having a bad day. This can make other person feel understood and like you. If you practice this kind of empathy, after a while it will become your nature and people will get a very good first impression of you. In this day and age, human interactions and interpersonal communication take place more digitally than in person. So you make your first impression in different media and under different circumstances. The impressions that are made about us become complicated as digital records exist for a long time and can be passed on. It's important to stay in the here and now, focus on what you are doing, and being mindful of the consequences. If you are having a conversation where no visuals are involved, it is very important to modulate your voice and convey warmth, politeness, and the confidence. Also, when someone reads a message or an email from you, they are forming an image of you. So a modest writing style will help you. Even if you are having a conversation via digital media, make sure that you respect your privacy and that of the other person. Unexpectedly, people listening to one-sided conversations can get the wrong first impression. In this video, I am not talking about how to interpret the body language of others and making your own impressions. How you handle it when someone has made the wrong impression of you is also a topic for another video. I will make videos about these later. Please subscribe to our channel, share this video, like it and comment. That will help us make more videos. Sometimes we act without thinking about the impression we leave on the strangers around us. The people we see as strangers sometimes become unexpectedly relevant. If they come with the wrong first impression of us because we were careless or didn't know what is expected of us, we can end up in awkward and complicated situations. We may think that we shouldn't judge people superficially after a few seconds of meeting them and sometimes think the worst. But our hormonal fight or flight response kicks in every time we meet a stranger and tries to protect us. So we have to come to terms with the fact that the first impression others make of us is not entirely under their control, but it is up to us to turn it into a positive one. We need to acquire the necessary knowledge and ability to live in the present moment and act accordingly in order to be successful. Thank you so much for watching.